Alright guys, how's it going? My last video was on the USS Langley, which is the very first aircraft carrier currently in the game. There probably will be an earlier British one, but I'm not going to go into that now. Now, it had a few disadvantages, mostly in terms of manoeuvrability, survivability, that thing. Basically, the survivability was tied to the lack of manoeuvrability. Now, I've since leveled up. I am now in Independence, which is the tier 5 carrier, and it is really vastly superior in just about every way. We've got similar sort of hit points, but I think the armour's a bit better. You've got a couple more aircraft. The big difference is, instead of having 2 torpedo bombers to start with, you've got dive bombers. This is these ones here. Now, dive bombers drop bombs directly on top of targets. Pretty good at hitting battleships, stuff like that. They don't do anything like the damage of a torpedo hit though. But yeah, they're a little bit more accurate. In terms of artillery, you've got 4 kilometre firing range. Once again, if you're firing that, you're in a lot of trouble anyway. One of the main differences is you've got an awful lot more anti-aircraft fire compared to the Langley as well. So you're not the total sitting duck against aircraft like the Langley was. Another big difference, you've got much more speed. You're twice as fast as the Langley, so you can actually move and run away from certain things rather than just, you know, being blown away. The only negative is you're that little bit more detectable. 10.3 on the surface and 11.5 in the air. Now, I didn't cover a few things in my first video on the Langley either because I didn't really know about them. But I'm going to go over how you can manually target with your bombers. We'll go over the mini-map and we'll discuss stuff like selecting multiple squadrons and moving them at the same time. I'm by no means an expert on carriers, but I do find them to be quite fun, so yeah, that's why this is my first tier 5 ship. So today I'm going to be playing the Independence, hopefully getting a lot better as the day goes on. We'll upgrade it as we go along. I'm just going to jump into a random battle. Pretty decent mix of ships in there. These Fuso battleships, dear god, they hit hard. Right, now down the bottom right you've got the mini-map. When you're playing a carrier, it makes sense to max it out using the plus key on the keypad. Minus is less, plus is more. Again, we're going to zoom out using the map. Then we're going to zoom in.
Action stations.
Double click to go to my ship. Double click on 1. This is another thing I'm going to be talking about. Using the keybinds 1, 2, 3, 4 is a lot better than trying to find your ships or find your aircraft on the map.
Autopilot mode enabled.
Right, probably don't actually want to go there. I'm not really sure where to go on this map. Guess maybe back's the best way. Now you listen to that and it says 2 ready for takeoff, so if you actually just now press 2, number 4 ready as well. I'm going to move 4 to here. I'm going to move 3 right next to it as well. Right, now we'll just keep our fighters coming down the middle here. I'm moving right to the back with my ship. Now the torpedo bombers slightly faster than, sorry, the dive bombers are slightly faster than the torpedo bombers. They're actually faster than my fighters, so they're good at getting out of the way. Now I've got a cruiser down here, and here's a battleship, it's a Congo. So let's head down to this Congo. Send my fighters down first. You know, I said I was going to group them together, so that's what I'm going to do. Now if you just click and drag, you can select them both, and now you can send them both to the same point. Right, there's a destroyer. Now, right, careful here because we've got
We're under attack.
cruiser leading there. I'm going to bring 3 and 4 down. And we've got another cruiser here. Now if I press 4, you can see you get a little circle around it. You can now twist it once you select it. You want to do something like that, yeah? Twist it so that it's going over the whole ship. Now I've spotted their carrier. I'm just going to manually send... Sorry, automatically fire my torpedoes at this Congo. Now his ships are being destroyed by... So his aircraft's being shot down. 2 hits there by torpedoes on that battleship, so that's not bad. I'm going to send my fighters after his fighters now.
Taking fire.
A good time to get into these kind of combats is when you've got support. So I've not got support here. This is why I'm losing so heavily, yeah? So I'm going to head back. Because
Returning to ship.
the combination of his cruiser and fighters are easily destroying my fighters. Very important not to get caught in positions like that. Now, double click on one. I'm going to come over here. Another thing I didn't talk about was how you can set waypoints. So, my first movement will be to there. If I hold down shift, I'll then move to here. So it's basically like setting a waypoint. Now this symbol here I believe means they are coming back. Group 2 is ready. Now we need to be careful of this destroyer here. It's in a bit of trouble though.
Airborne. Ready for takeoff.
Right. So once again I'm going to bring out my bombers. Again, if you just click on your target
Present course.
and then turn that, twist this little thing here around so that you're getting the whole, or as much of the ship as you can. We know his battleships, sorry, his carriers down this side though, so it's a bit more difficult. I really need to come along here as well. Right, this battleship's in a bit of trouble. It looks like he's going down to normal fire, so I probably won't need to destroy him. Right, there he goes.
Standing by for instructions. Over.
Now because he got destroyed, I'm no longer going to be attacking with my bomber, so I can move them elsewhere now. Let's see down here.
Maintaining present course.
Yeah, we know his carrier's got to be down here somewhere. Let's hunt down his bombers.
Fire.
Again, this is a little bit risky as I'm getting quite close to his cruisers. However, his bombers are also getting close to ours.
Waypoint under attack.
No. I haven't tried these ones on manual yet. Automatically they hit pretty well. 4 hits, Sandy's on fire. Now let's try the manual firing. Hold down shift. Gotta be careful of these fighters, yeah. Let's tie them up while I go for this guy. Now you can see I'm coming in at this angle and I'm going to launch torpedoes up along here. Very slow torpedo bombers. They're probably not going to make it there in time. Right, so I'm going to get out of there now.
Waypoint reached. Returning.
This one's destroyed anyway. Right, he didn't send his fighters after me, so I'm going to give this Kuma something to think about. Now he should start turning. Yeah, he's turning out of it. So I'm probably going to miss. Although he should be turning into it. Oh, he's taking a big hit from a battleship there. And it looks like he's going to choke on my torpedoes. Nice. Now their enemy carrier should have chased my torpedo bombers down. That's why I was able to destroy that cruiser there. I've got to say, it is very fun. I don't even like real-time strategy games, but this is just an awful lot of fun playing this.
Airborne.
Again, I've got to be careful of his fighters.
Awaiting instructions.
I'll come down after his fusel. I can move my carrier a bit closer now as well. We've got them on the run. Yeah, these dive bombers are much faster than torpedo bombers. They just don't do anything like the damage, obviously, though. I think they are a lot easier to use, though, to get any kind of damage, yeah? So anything that's really low, you've got a much better chance of destroying. You can see how this guy's turning here, yeah? You can sort of tell how he's turning. So it lets you know how to come at him, basically. Again, you can see he's just basically trying to turn in a circle. So you can preempt that. Get a good hit on him.
Approaching target.
He's got a lot of torpedoes coming his way as well. They're not too bad, 2 hits but no fire this time. Now you generally find that dive bombers do some pretty decent fire damage. Finally getting our cruisers and battleships to do a decent job on their fighters. And his bombers. Now, they're probably going back to rearm. So I should be safe enough coming at this fusel. A Cleveland here as well though. Let's try and get his carrier.
We're under attack.
Right, he sent his fighters back at me, yeah, so he's clearly got more than what I thought he had. Now you notice when you come under fire, your torpedo arcs get even wider, which means you're less likely to hit. This is even true if you try the manual. I thought he had run out of fire, which is why I come down here. Bit silly, in all honesty. So he's only got the carrier and the battleship left. The carrier's down here. It looks like this fusel's burning. And he's repairing now though. There's a carrier. Down goes the battleship. Now I don't have very many torpedoes left.
Taking fire.
You can see how good the Independence is against enemy aircraft there though, yeah, because they blew away those torpedo bombers quite easily. Got a couple of hits with my dive bombers. Pretty good damage there. See our Fusel with 5 kills. I think that ship's probably going to be getting nerfed. This has been pretty decent so far though. 10 hits with my dive bombers, 3 torpedo hits, 2 flooding, 4 planes shot down, 3 fires and 1 destroyed. Our cruiser's going to mop it up. And a quite nice victory. Yep, so that's one of my better performances, I would say, using a carrier. The Independence, you didn't really see how good it was at getting out the way there because I wasn't under any pressure. However, you saw how good those little dive bombers are certainly pretty interesting. Not too bad a performance, sitting 5th on the table. You can see though there wasn't an awful lot of damage done even with those direct bombs. Only 5,300 from 10 hits, that's not a lot in all honesty. Right, so it's the same as any other ship. Now you've got a bunch of experience, you really have to decide on what you're going to be purchasing. You've also got upgrades, yeah? I had already purchased the Air Group's modification upgrade. 10% aircraft guns effectiveness, it just seems a bit of a no-brainer. These other ones are a bit more difficult to choose. As you can see, the credits are starting to get pretty high now, even for these like upgrades, and this is a much more difficult choice. Would you take 20% anti-aircraft range on your own guns, or would you take 20% fighter survivability? That one probably the best one. However, minus 10 time to service aircraft as well. 10% less, I mean that's what, 3-4 seconds? That's pretty important you would think. But again, the 20% fighter survivability, yeah, very tough one. As regards these upgrades, the hull's a no-brainer. You basically lose all your artillery, but you gain more anti-aircraft, you gain more manoeuvrability, survivability, and a couple more aircraft. This is just a complete no-brainer to go with the better hull. Now looking at the rest of it, it's pretty much the same as the Langley. You can go with one more bomber squadron, or sorry, you can add a fighter squadron and you would lose your torpedo bomber squadron. I'm not convinced that's a very smart move. However, if you're really rubbish at using torpedo bombers, then this is a pretty decent support sort of build with the 2 fighters and the 1 bombers. You would be anti-aircraft support almost completely. You would fly your bombers around trying to drop them on, you know, already wounded battleships, that sort of thing. The second option is you go with another torpedo bomber squadron and you drop the dive bomber squadron. This is the one, obviously, if you're good with torpedo bombers, you saw there, the dive bombers, nice fun, really fun, and because they hit all the time, yeah, you always get a few hits in there at least. However, they just don't do the same kind of damage as the torpedo bombers. This really comes down to how good are you at using torpedoes. If you're good, you're going to go with 2 torpedo bomber squadrons. If you're not good, you're probably just going to go with the extra fighter. I'm not very good with torpedoes, but I'm going to be learning how to get good with them, yeah. Right now though, I'm probably going to leave this alone and continue to learn with the dive bombers and the torpedo bombers. Now in terms of your fighter upgrades, gain speed, lose damage. Gain speed, gain a bit of survivability and lose damage. If you're going to go with this, then the 20% survivability on the upgrade, you're going to make even more sense because it's going to be 20% of the new value of 980. Meaning they're really survivable. Whether or not it's going to make a big difference if you get caught in one of those situations where, you know, you've got cruiser fire and aircraft fire at the same time, probably not. However, on a one-on-one fight, you're probably going to easily defeat any, you know, fighter that isn't modified to these. You are quite a bit faster, which is pretty important. Looking at the torpedo bombers, that's just a no-brainer. You get more speed and you get more survivability. And you also get 1 more aircraft, so that one's a definite no-brainer. Personally, I'm going to go with the more survivable fighters, I think. And I would also, in that case, like I said, go with my 20% fighter survivability. Now that wasn't cheap, that's for sure. In regards to this upgrade, I probably wouldn't bother. It's an awful lot of money for something that you're not gonna really need. If you're taking damage like this, you're in real trouble anyway. But certainly that fighter upgrade has now made the fighters again faster than bombers. It's probably not going to be that important because very few of the really good players are going to be using bombers. However, against maybe lesser players like myself, then having faster fighters that can actually catch those bombers, you know, it can maybe make a little bit of a difference. But yeah, it's pretty interesting. I can definitely feel myself gravitating a little bit towards carrier play. However, I am still not sure. In all honesty, I like all of these ships. I'll see you in the next one.